We are in the main shopping district of Salt Lake City, and there is the largest cube of truth in the history of Salt Lake City and Utah happening. What is a cube of truth? People gathered to show people the truth about animal agriculture specifically and animal torture in general. And these folks have gathered. This is a high-tech demonstration. This woman is actually looking at what they do to animals in factory farms in virtual reality. And it feels like she is inside a factory farm. They show you the hard truth that people don't want to acknowledge about what's behind those closed factory farm doors. And we invite any company that is mentioned in this video on. That's an undercover investigation by Mercy for Animals that they are showing. This is a high-tech, it's not really a demonstration. I guess you'd say it is a demonstration, but it's really just a collective truth-telling. These are the animals, and sometimes they will tell you that, oh, they're organic, or they're farm-bred, or they're free-range, but, you know, there's 74 billion animals on this planet who, when I say who, are raised in institutionalized torture and killed every year, and there's no nice way to kill one animal, much less 74 billion of them. So if this video is disturbing, think about it. The next time you pick a nugget out of a store, and or before Thanksgiving, when you're deciding what to do about your Thanksgiving holiday, do you really have to kill a turkey? No, you don't. And these animals are intelligent, and this is a major cube of truth, one of the largest that I've ever seen, and the largest certainly in the state of Utah ever, and the largest in Salt Lake City. And you know, this is not a movie that was fictional. This is the reality of what they do to these animals. If you think you can eat ham, which is a pig, a dead pig, or bacon, and you're not contributing to this, you're wrong. You're ordered the hit. You ordered the hit. And you know, there's another way. Just yesterday on my daily vegan cooking show, Lunch Break Live, we profiled Leica Foods. Leica Foods is a meat alternative that mimics pork and mimics all sorts of animal products. It tastes great, and you don't have to participate in this suffering. These pigs, for example, have a higher IQ than dogs. If you did to one dog what they do routinely to millions of these pigs, you would be arrested and put in jail. But these factory farm animals have virtually no protection. And so these people are bringing us the truth. And this is the Cube of Truth, anonymous for the Voiceless. It is huge. And there's another one happening on the other side of the street, which we'll get to in a minute. So take a look at this. People are encouraged as they shop to look at the horrors of the factory farm industry, how they basically kill all the male chicks because they have no need for male chicks in the egg industry. So you see all these little boys are going to their deaths right after birth. It's a maceration process. They are ground up alive. And yeah, we have to show people, because people say to me, well, you know, eggs, there's nothing wrong with eggs, but all the boy chicks are macerated. They're ground up alive. That's fundamentally, morally wrong, and you're looking at it. It's the truth. And we're trying to spread the word about the truth. So when you consider whether you want to eat an egg or you want to have scrambled tofu with a little turmeric that tastes pretty much the same when you add onions and garlic and the veggies and all the other nice things, then you don't have to participate in this killing. But if you've seen this and then you continue to participate, you are responsible. You are responsible. And you know, you might say, well, is this edited? No, these animals were not brought in from central casting. There's no way to do that. These are images that were taken by undercover investigators who risked their life to take these images to bring the truth to you. This is how these chickens live. Prisoners kept in these darkened warehouses. They never see the sky. They never touch grass. And they are housed by the millions. This is not natural. It's not tradition. It's not what nature intended. And by the way, it is the ultimate violation of the sacred feminine. All of animals in factory farms are raped. They're not making love. This is institutionalized torture. Institutionalized torture. And now that you've seen it, you can make a better choice and just choose some of the many alternatives to meat and dairy that exists now. You can make a better choice, and let's hope you do it this Thanksgiving. You know, people say, well, eggs, you know, they're in eggs. All the boy chicks are macerated. We just showed you that. Eggs are incredibly cruel. You're watching those animals go to their deaths. In fact, there was a documentary in Israel where some activists got into one of these maceration factories, and the factory owner called police, and the police showed up, and the activist said, well, you hit the button. You hit the button to kill all these animals, and the police officer was unable to do it. There's something very fundamentally, morally wrong with what's happening here. These are not widgets. These are sentient beings. They cut off their beaks because if they didn't, they would peck each other to death because they're kept in such horrifically bad conditions. And 80% of all antibiotics are fed to factory farm animals because they'd all die if they didn't get pumped with antibiotics, which is creating antibiotic resistant salmonella. Okay? This video goes through all of it, the dairy, and there they are, dehorning these animals. I mean, give me a break. This is so incredibly cruel what they do to these animals. Cutting off their tails. It's hard to even watch, but this is what they do to these animals. Okay? And don't tell me that, oh, I didn't know. You've seen the video, now you know. Now you know. If you continue to eat these animals, you are the reason you've ordered the hit. This is the reason why it's happening, because none of this would happen if people didn't buy these animals. None of it would happen if people didn't buy these animal products. You know, I have friends that I've known for years that I've gone to high school with, and they don't want to talk about it. And you know what they say, you can wake somebody up who's asleep, but you can't wake somebody up who is pretending to be asleep. There are a lot of people who are pretending to be asleep, and that is why these cubes exist. So that people who know, but they want to pretend like they don't know, they see this and they have to face the reality that these are pig gestation crates. The first time I saw pig gestation crates, I said, it cannot be possible. They're castrated without anesthesia. There they are, pulling their gonads out without anesthesia. This is all standard procedure in the factory farm industry. Screaming baby animals. And these people, very calmly, far less emotionally than myself, explain this to people who are walking by. They do it very calmly, and I'm sorry, I get emotional. I cannot look at this without feeling sadness, grief, rage. I'm entitled to my emotions, but none of it has to happen. And not to mention that it's the leading cause of habitat destruction, because these animals eat almost 40 times what they produce as meat or dairy. So we are destroying forests at an alarming rate, in order to grow crops to feed 74 billion animals who eat so much more than they produce as meat or dairy. So now we have Thanksgiving coming upon us, and so many people have been sold this lie that they can't celebrate Thanksgiving without putting a dead animal on their plate. And I have not celebrated Thanksgiving with a dead animal on my plate ever. When I was a child, I was forced to go to some of those events, but as an adult, we have a vegan Thanksgiving. And it's beautiful and it's tasty and everybody has a really good time. So there is a tremendous joy to celebrating without killing. Peace begins on your plate. And all of these folks here are sending this message. We are here live in Salt Lake City in the center of the shopping district for the largest cube of truth ever in Salt Lake. And the whole idea is these folks are lined up. They're also lined up across the street as well. This is a twin cube of truth right under a major overpass between two shopping centers. And this is definitely the smack dab in the center of Utah's shopping district. And what they're trying to say to people is, you know, you don't need to be a part of this. This is morally wrong. And look at this, pig gestation crates. I remember the first time I saw pig gestation crates, and these are animals that are stacked in these warehouses by the thousands. You know, 3.5 million factory farm animals were left to drown during Hurricane Florence. And they were described by one farmer as live inventory. We have reduced these animals and victimized them to a level where they can't even be considered victims. And the mainstream media never discusses the toll of these animals who are trapped in these. Imagine being trapped in a crate and then the rising floodwaters and you drown inside a crate, unable to move. That's what happened to millions of animals during Hurricane Florence. And the USDA has an indemnity program that reimburses these so-called farmers who are really warehouse owners a good percentage of their losses. So it's in their interest to leave them trapped in these warehouses because then they can counter dead inventory and get new live inventory in. That's what we have become as a society, and it's so wrong, and the consequences are hitting us now with climate change. You know, animal agriculture is the leading cause of habitat destruction because we're only 7.6 billion humans, and we raise and kill 74 billion animals in these horrific conditions every year. That little baby, okay, some people regard these sentient beings who are actually smarter than dogs, have a higher IQ than dogs. They have emotional development pigs of toddler human children, and they consider them ham or bacon or pork ribs or pulled pork. No, they are individuals. And if you think that's funny and you think you don't have to worry about it, well, you may have to endure the consequences. We literally will have no wildlife vertebrates in 8 years. That means no wild animals with bones left in the wild. That means no koala bears, no kangaroos, no giraffes, no rhinos, no nothing, because we have destroyed the habitat of wild animals while we are raping 74 billion of factory farm animals into existence. And these animals are abused from the moment they are born, there they are being shot, to the moment they die. It is a life of complete hell. And if they're a little bit alive, they drag them. I mean, what they do to these animals, cutting their tails off without anesthesia, it's torture. It's literal torture. But if you eat these animals, you are co-signing this torture. You are paying for this torture. You have ordered the hit. So we are here showing you what's happening, and people look, and I applaud the people who are not part of this, who have the courage to stop and look. That's all anybody's asking, is have the courage to stop and look. Open your heart and show the truth. And some people are very effective just with their cell phone. This young lady has brought her cell phone and she's showing the horrors of factory farming. You know, all the information is right there on your phone. And you can Google it. You can Google it. All these videos are online. So don't take anybody's word for it. They're right here. And I know some of these people, you know, it takes tremendous courage and determination to come out here and stand silently in the cold. It's getting colder and colder here, and they want to send this, they want to just let people know. They want to let people know what is happening. And it's fish too. These fish, just because they can't scream because they're underwater, doesn't mean that they don't experience horrific pain and suffering. It's all a horror show. You can watch, this is Farm to Fridge. You can watch Farm to Fridge. It was produced by Mercy for Animals. Shows all of it. This is the video that turned my girlfriend vegan. I think about 12 minutes. We met. She said, "Why is this person that I've gone on a date with so passionate about this issue?" And I said, "Watch Farm to Fridge." She watched Farm to Fridge. She went vegan the next day, and now she's a social media activist. This lady here is talking to people about it. So the woman with the long dark hair is explaining to some consumers, this is the truth. And these people then, understand the consequences of their choices. And it's just so terrible. And the powers that are keeping this truth from you are the people who are making money off of this. What? You're probably asking yourself, well, if all this horror is occurring, why don't I see this on the evening news? Have you looked at the commercials on the evening news? It's all fast food and pharmaceuticals, the two industries that would collapse if the truth about how these animals are raised came out. Here's a lady talking. This is a concept that was created by Anonymous for the Voiceless. And these cubes of truth happen all over the world. And they are growing in number, and the people are growing in number. And, when people look at this, they really, a lot of them change, and they do go vegan. And if you can look at all of this and then just laugh and say, bacon, maybe you need to really find out why you're having that reaction, because I think anybody who has a heart would look at this stuff and say there's something really wrong with this, and I think we all know that. So look at the truth and change. There is absolutely no need for us to kill a single pig, much less billions and billions of them every year in these horrific conditions. And they're babies. Most of them are about 6 months old when they're sent to slaughter. And, I bear witness at Vigil in Los Angeles, and these animals are confused and terrified. They don't know what's happening to them. They have never touched grass. They have never seen the sky. But, the industry will give you images of happy pigs, cartoons of happy pigs frolicking in fields. It's all a lie. It's all a lie, and these people have gathered here in Salt Lake City to let the shoppers who are coming out of these doors, out of one of the big malls, to let them see the truth so that they can make a compassionate choice. So, Anonymous for the Voiceless, I would urge you to support them. There are cubes of truth all over the world. You can easily get involved. You get a mask, and you bring your laptop, and you're part of this group. They are changing hearts and minds the world over, and they have a whole system in place to make sure that they're not traumatizing young children. If they see children, they warn their parents that there may be some very graphic footage. But those parents, often misguided, force animal products on their kids. We know that, for example, processed meat officially determined to be cancer-causing by the World Health Organization. So it's a cancer-causing product, okay? And yet parents, misguided, force their children to eat meat when children generally do not have the kind of desire to eat meat that the parents create in them by conditioning them. If you put a little bunny rabbit, and an apple or a peach in a crib, the child would pet the rabbit and eat the peach, not eat the rabbit and pet the peach. So, children are naturally compassionate, but the kindness is, just beaten out of them with programs that encourage them to raise animals for factory farming and then give them over to be slaughtered. And often those children are traumatized. They fall in love with this animal that they've raised, who they've raised, and then they're told to give the animal to slaughter because that's just the way it is. But it's not just the way it is. And, we are killing more animals today in this country than have ever been killed by any culture in the history of humankind. And the amazing thing is that people run around and tell themselves they're animal lovers because they have a dog or a cat. And there's nothing wrong with having a dog or a cat, but if you do this to an animal, you can't call yourself an animal lover. You may love your dog, but if you're participating in this, you can't call yourself an animal lover. These animals have all the feelings of your dog and cat, and they are being systematically tortured in institutionalized torture. You need to wake up. And, you know, the whole world needs to wake up because we're running out of time. Animal agriculture is a leading cause of climate change, responsible for more greenhouse gases than all transportation combined. And it is the leading cause of habitat destruction and wildlife extinction. How do I prove that to you? We're only 7.6 billion humans. We raise and kill 74 billion land animals, not including fish, every year. Those animals obviously eat a lot more than we do. And they eat almost 40 times what they produce as meat or dairy. So we are destroying forests to grow crops, not to feed human beings, but to feed animals. So most of the soy grown is fed to farm animals. 83% of all agriculture is animal agriculture. It's animal agriculture related. So when we destroy a forest to grow crops and you take off on your plane and you look down and you see farmland everywhere and you think, oh, how pretty and green. No, those used to be forests, and all the animals inside those forests are being driven into extinction. We have started the 6th mass extinction. It is underway. And so what's happening is we're destroying all the wildlife. We've destroyed more than 60% of all wildlife at this point. And within a decade, we will have destroyed virtually 100% of all wildlife. Wildlife with bones, wildlife vertebrates, wildlife that isn't insects. And meanwhile, we're mass producing these other animals that we say their feelings don't count, their emotions don't count, their pain doesn't count. We can call ourselves good people, we can call ourselves animal lovers. That's not real fur, by the way. We can call ourselves animal lovers and still eat these animals. Well, no, you can't. I mean, unless you want to lie to yourself. But this is the dilemma, and it's okay to wake up. Very few people here were born vegan. Everybody has woken up. I wasn't born vegan. Nobody, you know, I have a great niece who was born vegan. She's one of like 3 people I know who were born vegan. Most of us participated in this system, but then when we woke up, we stopped participating. And that's what we're asking you guys to do. We're just asking you, please share this video. Share this video with your free vegan friends. And if you don't like the word vegan, go for plant-based. Or go for strict vegetarian, or just go for I don't eat animals or their byproducts. It doesn't matter what you call it as long as you stop participating in the killing. That's the key. We want everybody to stop participating in this killing before it kills us with cancer and heart disease. And this woman has a little baby there. Has a little baby. I just noticed that. Asleep behind her. So she's a mom who brought her child, and the little child is there sleeping, unaware, blissfully unaware of that his or her mom is an activist who is trying to make this world a better place. What a great thing to do as a mom, because, you know, parents, would you like to have wildlife for your grandchildren to see? Because animal agriculture is killing all the wildlife. We won't have any of it. And so this is really wonderful. People stop really horrible.
Piglets who were at the farm who were suffering.
There they are.
One of the piglets we rescued, their moms.
Yeah, so people are being very, very kind and considerate and compassionate.
The saltiness and just fighting each other, and so.
So here we are. Let's see if we can talk to one of the organizers. You just were on the Cube of Truth. Do you mind if I talk to you for a second?
Sure.
Come over here for a second. I'd like to ask you, you are amazing because you have a little baby.
Well, thank you.
Look at that little baby here.
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful baby. That's your child, your son or daughter?
Daughter, yeah.
Okay, so why did you feel as a mom, who most people would say, well, you're too busy to do this, you just have an infant. Why did you feel it was important, thanks for speaking up, to be here and participate in this Cube of Truth?
You know, having a baby makes this issue all the more important to me because, you know, in the dairy industry, they're taking calves from their mothers. Animals feel the same love that a mother feels for her own baby, and that I can never put that on any living being.
Yes.
Never do that to anyone.
Yes. So as a mother, you felt compassion for the mothers. You know, I call it a rape, abduction, and murder operation. They rape all these animals. And you know what? I'm not just making that up. The industry term is rape rack. That's the industry term, and you can Google it.
Right.
Then they steal the babies from the mothers. The babies grieve, the mothers grieve, and then they kill them all.
Right.
So how did you wake up to this?
You know, I watched some documentaries a few years ago, and I actually have been vegan for about 5 years. So vegan pregnancy, vegan baby.
Yeah, and you know, vegan babies grow up very healthy. There's a whole, you should check it out. There's a whole new magazine called Raise Vegan.
Awesome.
And you'd probably be a good person to feature in it. So check it out.
great.
Offer yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think they would like to have you.
Yeah.
It's called Raise Vegan or Raising Vegan. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yep, thank
so,
you.
Yes. So I find this to be it's a very kind of weird. There's Christmas spirit, and then there's this truth that is so disturbing. How do you reconcile the truth too?
You know, that's why we're out here. That's why we're here, is to bring the truth to people and hopefully make some change.
Have you seen changes here in Utah?
Definitely. The vegan movement has increased so much here. There's so much going on for animal rights. There's cubes like this frequently. There's so many more options for vegan foods, and there's so many vegan restaurants opening up. It's been, even the last few years, it's been amazing.
Do you find that some of your friends are hearing you, or are they?
Yeah. Every year there's a couple people that, you know, around Thanksgiving time especially approach me and say, hey, I'm not going to be eating meat this Thanksgiving. Do you have recipes? Or do you know, they're getting reached through all sorts of documentaries, through local events. I mean, the word's out there and it's growing.
Thank you so much for taking the time to stop, and I so appreciate what you do. Thank you very much. All right, well, we've been live quite here at the Cube of Truth, and I'll have the cube behind me. We have a Cube of Truth right there, and Jane Unchained is going to have team coverage of the West Coast Convergence, which is going to go on for 5 days. Moby spoke today. We're going to have other exciting speakers. Is Ingrid Newkirk speaking?
She's speaking at the march tomorrow.
Okay, so Ingrid Newkirk, the president of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, is speaking at the march tomorrow. We're going to bring you that speech live. And then there's going to be a release of 100 turkeys, I understand, coming in the next couple of days. So it's a 5-day convergence. Jane Unchained has a team of reporters here, contributors who are bringing you every aspect of this amazing convergence in Utah. And we are live in Salt Lake City, signing off for now. Please share this video so that others who you know who are not eating plant-based and who, you know, just haven't woken up to this issue will see it and hopefully make the change. Thanks for watching.